was laughed at for her southern accent, but the judge at table 3 had other plans. What will happen when the room finally hears her voice for what it really is? Let us know in the comments section below. Serena Easton didn't need anyone's approval. She'd learned that by age 9, standing in her grandmother's kitchen with a broom taller than she was and flour on her cheeks, getting scolded for sweeping too slow. Her grandma used to say, "You don't chase no man's favor, you carry your own." And Serena carried it well. Through school, through long bus rides from Oakwood to downtown Atlanta, and now across the shining marble floor of Magnolia Row. She wore her uniform like armor, black slacks pressed to a crease, white blouse tucked just right, and a small gold pin above her heart that said, Serena. Her name. Just her name. She liked that. But folks didn't always treat it like that. Not in this place. "Y'all ready to order?" she asked with a warm smile, holding a pen steady over her notepad. That's when Carson Whitaker snorted into his water glass. "Y'all?" he echoed, dragging out the syllables like they were covered in dirt. "Are we back in Mississippi?" The table burst into laughter. Brielle Jennings tossed her sleek blonde hair and smirked. "No, Carson, we're just being served by the spirit of Dollywood." Serena smiled. Tight, chin up, back straight. She didn't flinch. Just wrote down the wine order and turned away. Her chest was burning, but her steps never faltered. Back by the server's station, she exhaled and leaned against the side panel just out of view. "They're doing it again, huh?" asked Louis, her co-worker, pouring tea into a chilled glass. She didn't answer, just shrugged, chewing the inside of her cheek. Louis knew the answer anyway. This wasn't new. Magnolia Row was all modern chandeliers, $300 0-cent steaks, and high-profile egos. Tucked in the heart of Midtown, it welcomed senators, startup founders, pro-athletes, and pseudo-intellectuals who thought Southern accents meant small minds. Serena had mastered the art of being invisible and memorable at the same time. But tonight, the laugh didn't bounce off her skin the way it usually did. It lingered, crawled, settled in the back of her throat. At table 3, someone noticed. Judge Aldea Monroe stirred her espresso slowly, eyes focused not on her company but on the woman walking away. She'd seen enough Southern women turned into caricatures in her life. But this one didn't flinch. "She's good," Althea said. Her friend, Councilwoman Nadine Cross, glanced up. "You know her?" "No, but I recognize steel when I see it." Althea's voice dropped. "Keep watching." Serena returned to table 5 with their starters and a grin that fooled most. Except it didn't fool Logan Kress, the influencer with a knack for stirring controversy. His phone hovered low by his knee, camera rolling. A sneaky record button blinked red, tucked behind his cocktail napkin. "Say it again," he grinned, leaning forward. "How'd you say, y'all ready to order?" "I want to remember it." Serena didn't take the bait. "Your appetizers, sir." He chuckled. "No fun." Sidney Talbot chimed in. "Oh, come on, Serena. We love your voice. It's quaint, like biscuits and banjos." More laughter. Across the room, the judge's jaw tightened. Her fingers gripped the handle of her demitasse like it was something far heavier. Serena walked away, but this time her hands shook slightly. She made it to the kitchen doors before the tears pricked. But she didn't cry. She just leaned against the cooler and let her breath hitch for 1 second. 1 second only. "You okay?" asked Chef Darrell, wiping his brow with a towel. "Yeah," she lied. But even Darrell knew Serena didn't break easy. Something was off. The rest of the night blurred. Orders came in, plates went out, and Serena floated through it like a ghost in pearls. But at 8:42 p.m., Logan's phone uploaded a short clip with a caption. "Southern Drawl, City Prices." By 9:03, it had 2,000 likes and climbing. Serena didn't know, not yet, but Althea Monroe had seen it, live. Her goddaughter sent it while they were finishing dessert. "Is this who I think it is?" the message read. Althea's expression didn't change, but her eyes darkened. She looked at Serena one more time. "I need to speak to the manager," she said calmly. It wasn't about the food. In the break room, Serena sat for the first time all night. Her legs ached. Her heart ached more. The laughter kept replaying in her mind, even in silence. She tried to text her cousin, backspaced, tried again. Nothing felt right. Then the call came over the radio. "Serena, you've got someone asking for you. Judge Monroe at table 3. Serena blinked. Luis mouthed, "The judge?" She didn't know whether to be nervous or honored, but she straightened her blouse, ran a hand through her braids, and walked out to meet the woman who hadn't laughed at her once. Althea stood when Serena approached. That small gesture made Serena pause. Nobody stood for a waitress. "You have a beautiful voice," Althea said calmly. "Don't let them shrink it." Serena opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "I know who you are," the judge added. "I see you. That's all for now." She sat back down. Serena blinked fast, nodding, then backed away like she was still in a dream. Luis was waiting. What happened? Serena didn't know how to answer. But suddenly, she didn't feel so small anymore. And outside, the city kept scrolling, watching, judging. But the story had just begun. By the time Serena reached her apartment later that night, the sky was already turning the shade of cigarette ash. She slipped off her shoes at the door like always, but instead of heading to the bathroom to wash off the scent of truffle oil and cologne, she just stood there, still in uniform, still hearing their laughter. She finally moved, letting her bag drop to the floor. Her apartment was small, 1 bedroom, 2nd floor walk-up, but it was hers. Lavender-scented candles lined the counter and framed photos of family. Mama, Big Mama, her baby brother Darius, watched over her like quiet witnesses. She went straight to the couch, legs folding under her, like she didn't have a skeleton anymore. Her phone buzzed. She checked it lazily, expecting a message from Luis or maybe a late update from the Magnolia Row group chat about someone's shift being covered. But her lock screen was already showing notifications she didn't understand. Mentions, tags, reposts. She opened Instagram, then TikTok. And there it was. A 10-second clip. Her face, her voice. "You all ready to order?" The caption read, "Why is my filet mignon coming with a twang?" The comment section was a mess. Who let Paula Deen out? Is this a Cracker Barrel audition? I'd tip in cornbread. What makes I love her? Like if Alexa could sound like this? Wait, she kinda cute though. She froze. The sound of her own voice echoed through her apartment, warped through cheap speakers and strangers' filters. She slammed the phone down, face hot with humiliation. But she couldn't stop the tears this time. Not fast enough. The phone buzzed again, a new notification, this one from her cousin Zoe. "Girl, you're going viral, but not in a good way." Serena's stomach twisted. She wiped her face, pulled herself together and typed a reply. What did they say now? Zoe's response came with a screenshot. One of the comments had been pinned. "Imagine being served shrimp risotto by a cotton field ghost." That one did it. She stared at the screen so long her eyes went dry. The hurt sat in her like bad food. Slow, boiling, familiar. She tossed the phone aside, curling up. Sleep didn't come easy, and when it finally did, it was restless. She dreamt of voices and mirrors, of trays slipping from her hands and rooms full of people laughing just out of reach. By morning, the video had cracked 100,000 views. And that was the thing about the internet. It didn't wait for you to catch your breath. At Magnolia Row, nobody mentioned it outright. Not the manager, not the hosts, not even Luis. But everyone moved around her carefully, like she was made of glass and trigger warnings. She caught whispers near the wine fridge. "Did you see that thing last night? Bro, I'd even know she talked like that. Wild. You better lawyer up, that's defamation or something." Luis finally pulled her aside. "Hey," he said, "you okay?" She forced a nod. "Yeah, just a little tired." "Serena, that clip's everywhere. My little cousin sent it to me this morning like it was a meme. She didn't even know I worked with you." Serena looked away, eyes fixed on the back wall where the kitchen pass line buzzed with tickets. Luis hesitated. "You want me to help you get it taken down?" "I know some folks." She shook her head. "It's already out there. Doesn't matter." "But it does," he said softly. "You didn't deserve that." She smiled faintly. "That's sweet, Luis. But the world don't care about what folks deserve, just what's clickable." That evening they came again. Carson, Brielle, Logan, Sydney. All seated at the same table like it was a rerun nobody asked for. Serena stood behind the server station, watching them laugh over glasses of red and buttered sourdough rolls. Luis nudged her. "You sure you want to take that table?" "They asked for me," she said, voice even. "Of course they did." She walked over, pad in hand, spine straight. "Well, well," Logan smirked. "It's the celebrity waitress. We should be paying you for the performance." Sydney raised her phone halfway. "Say something cute. I want to hear it live." Serena didn't blink. "Would y'all prefer a menu or a mirror tonight?" They paused. Carson grinned. "Well, damn, you got sass too." "I have a lot of things," she said coolly. "Most of them don't come with a side of fries." A few nearby tables turned their heads. Sydney slowly lowered her phone. Brielle rolled her eyes. "Relax, it's just a joke." Serena's voice stayed soft. "I work 3 doubles a week, take 2 buses to get here, and still find time to send money home. If my voice is the worst thing you tasted here, that says more about you than the food." Then she smiled. It wasn't a big scene. No applause, no one threw drinks or stormed out. But the energy at the table shifted, just slightly, just enough. Judge Monroe watched the exchange from the corner, a slow nod forming. Later that night, Althea reached for her phone. She opened her notes app and wrote down one sentence. "Community voice grant. Name it after someone who never asked to be heard but deserved to be." Then she closed it. Because something was coming, and Serena Easton had no idea the world was about to change. Serena didn't check her phone the next morning. She didn't need to. The dread in her stomach had already told her everything she needed to know. Still, muscle memory had her reaching for it from under her pillow like always. One blink, one swipe, and the home screen lit up like a fireworks show. 2 missed calls, 7 texts, and almost 40 Instagram notifications. She scrolled, half awake, half hoping it had all vanished overnight. But it hadn't. It had grown. There was a remix video. Now, someone had layered her voice, "Y'all ready to order?" with trap beats and animated dancing biscuits. Another post looped her saying the phrase over a slideshow of plantation imagery, captioned, "Antebellum aesthetic." She sat up slowly, like her body had to catch up with her emotions. She wasn't just a waitress anymore, she was a punchline. Serena placed the phone on the nightstand face down. Her room suddenly felt too quiet, too hot, too small. She walked barefoot to the window, pushing aside the curtain. Outside, the city still moved like nothing had changed. Sirens in the distance, car horns below, the steady rhythm of traffic and life. But inside her chest, it was like something had stopped. She had spent her life learning how to shrink her voice in rooms that didn't want to hear it. Now it had been dragged across the internet without her permission, twisted, repackaged, and rebranded for people who wouldn't last a day in her shoes. A knock on the door made her flinch. She wasn't expecting anyone. It came again. "Serena?" "It's Zoe." She opened the door to her cousin, holding a small box of pastries and a larger bag of trouble. Zoe walked in like she owned the place. "Girl, we need to talk. You're trending in 3 different countries." Serena raised a brow. "I don't care about countries. I care about how I'm going to keep showing up to that restaurant without breaking." Zoe set the pastries down. "Well, that's what I'm here for. Also, I brought peach tarts, because priorities." Serena sat on the edge of the couch, picking at a napkin. "It's not funny. They're calling me all kinds of things. I saw one post that said I sounded like I was serving gravy on a slave ship." Zoe's smile faded. "Okay. That's disgusting." Serena nodded. "Yeah." Zoe sat beside her. "But here's the thing. People are watching, not just trolls, real folks, important ones. And one of them tagged Judge Althea Monroe in your clip." Serena looked over, surprised. "The civil rights judge?" "Yep, and she reposted it, but with her own caption." Serena's stomach tightened. "What'd she say?" Zoe pulled out her phone. "This woman's voice holds 1,000 stories this country refuses to hear. Maybe it's time we start listening." Serena blinked. She reached for the phone, rereading the words again and again like they might change the 3rd time, but they didn't. They just sank in deeper. "She saw me," Serena whispered. "She did," Zoe nodded. "And now others are too. I've got people DMing me asking for interviews, local news, podcasts, even a documentary crew." Serena shook her head. No, I'm not doing that." Zoe raised her brows. "Why not?" "Because I'm not a story. I'm a server. I didn't sign up to be anyone's symbol." Zoe leaned back. "No, you didn't. But you're here now, and symbols don't start out wanting attention. They start out surviving." Serena sat in silence. The weight of her own breath filled the room. Later that day she went to work. No makeup, no earrings. Just her usual braid, tired eyes, and a manager waiting with a strange look. "Serena," he said as she clocked in, "can I talk to you for a sec?" She followed him into the back office where the fluorescent lights always buzzed a little too loudly and the walls always felt too close. "We've had a lot of attention lately," he started, "and I just want to make sure everything's okay on your end." "I'm fine," she said quickly. "We're not taking sides," he continued, eyes flicking to the stack of printed-out Yelp reviews on the desk. "But we've been getting some backlash. Some people think it's unprofessional, the accent, the way you speak. It's not everyone, of course, but a few regulars have commented." Serena stared at him. "So what are you saying?" He hesitated. "Just maybe try to keep it more neutral, less regional." She laughed once, soft and humorless. "Less me, you mean?" He raised his hands. "I'm just passing along feedback." She stood. "Thanks. I've heard enough feedback this week to last a lifetime." Back on the floor, Luis walked up beside her, holding 2 plates and one hard truth. "They can't silence you," he said. "They don't have to," Serena replied. "They just wait for you to shrink yourself." That night, she sat on the edge of her bathtub scrolling through her messages. One stood out, a direct message from Judge Monroe's official account. "Serena, I'd like to meet with you. There's something I think you should be a part of." She read it, then reread it, and suddenly the room didn't feel so small. The courthouse felt different than Serena expected. Not intimidating like she'd feared, not cold or echoey like in the TV shows. It was quiet, steady, lived in. Walls lined with photos of civil rights cases. Worn benches polished by decades of determination. She stood near the entrance, hands clasped in front of her, trying not to fidget. Judge Monroe's assistant greeted her warmly and led her through a side hall. Serena's flats echoed softly against the tile. "You don't have to be nervous," the assistant said. I'm not, Serena lied. Inside the judge's chamber, Althea Monroe stood beside a wide wooden desk, sunlight pouring through the tall window behind her. She wore a plum blazer and glasses that glinted in the light. "You came," the judge said. "I wasn't sure I should," Serena replied. "But then I figured, maybe this isn't just about me anymore." Althea nodded. "It's not." She gestured to a chair. Serena sat. "I've watched that video more times than I care to admit," Althea began. "But not to join the noise. I was listening." "There's a difference." Serena tilted her head slightly. "Do you know what I heard?" the judge continued. "Pride, kindness, a refusal to dull yourself to make others comfortable. That is rare, and that is what inspired me." She opened a folder and slid it across the table. Serena leaned in, reading the title printed neatly on the top page. "The Easton Fund for Cultural Resilience. A community grant for voices silenced too long." Her throat tightened. "Wait. This is a grant," Althea said softly, "for young people who feel out of place just for being themselves, for artists, writers, students, and yes, servers, who carry their culture proudly. We've already secured the first round of funding. All it needed was a name." Serena blinked quickly. "You named it after me?" "I named it for you," Althea corrected. "But it belongs to all the people who never got their microphone moment." Serena didn't know what to say. Words felt too small. "I want you to help launch it," the judge continued. "Speak at the press conference. Tell your story, not the viral version, the real one." "I'm not a speaker," Serena murmured. "I serve food. That's what I do." "No," Althea said with a gentle smile. "That's what you did. Now you tell stories. Because the world is finally listening." The press conference was held a week later at a community center in West End. Serena stood behind the podium in a soft yellow blouse, palms sweating as she held onto her note cards. The crowd wasn't massive, but the cameras were real, the kind that live-streamed, the kind that didn't flinch. She took a deep breath. "My name is Serena Easton. Some of y'all know me because of a video that went places I didn't ask it to go." Soft chuckles in the audience. "I was working a shift at Magnolia Row, doing what I always do. Smiling, listening, being polite, and carrying a voice that's been passed down to me through grandmothers who sang while they worked, through cousins who laughed with thick vowels on front porches, through pastors who preached from pulpits built with sweat. That voice, that's mine. I didn't shape it to please anyone. I didn't water it down for tips, and I sure as hell won't apologize for it." Applause began at the back of the room. Serena glanced up, heart thudding. "I'm not a symbol," she continued. "I'm a person. And like so many others, I've been laughed at, talked over, ignored, or dismissed because of the way I sound. But I'm here to tell you today, every syllable I carry is my heritage. Every twang is a thread in the fabric of who I am." She paused, looked into the lights, didn't blink. "This fund, the Easton Fund, ain't about pity. It's about pride. It's about teaching young people that their voices matter, that they don't have to strip themselves bare to belong, that resilience doesn't mean staying quiet. It means speaking up, even when your voice shakes." The applause grew louder, cameras clicked, and for the first time Serena didn't shrink from the sound. Later that night she walked past Magnolia Row, not to work, but just to walk. The place looked the same, elegant, pristine, full of clinking glass and curated playlists. But she didn't feel the same. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. "Zoe, you absolutely crushed it today. Also, Netflix called." Serena snorted, shaking her head. Further down the street, a girl with box braids no older than 15 stepped out of a corner store. She paused, looked at Serena, then smiled shyly. "Miss Easton." Serena turned. "Yes?" "I saw your speech," the girl said, "at school. They showed it in my English class. I just wanted to say thank you for talking how you talk." Serena crouched down a little so they were eye level. "You talk how you talk too, all right? Don't let nobody twist it." The girl grinned wide and ran off. Serena stood there a moment longer, feeling the quiet press of the night. Not heavy, not empty, just full. She walked home slow, past the murals, the crosswalks, the barbershops, and broken sidewalks, past a world that had never bent over backward for her, but was now listening. And when she reached her door, she didn't open it right away. She looked back once more, heart full, voice steady. For the first time in her life, Serena Easton didn't feel like she was serving the world. She felt like it was ready to serve her back.